How's it going, folks? I'm Des with DesFit, and this is the brand new Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra GPS smartwatch, which comes with some new features beyond the previous generation Ticwatch Pro 3. And in this video, I'll be going over all those new features, as well as what this device can do from the smartwatch end of things, as well as what it can do from the fitness side of things. Now, my reviews generally focus on the sports and fitness aspects of these sort of devices, where I like to go into a lot of detail about heart rate accuracy as well as GPS accuracy, testing them for lots of different types of activities like running, cycling, as well as weight training. And if the information in this video does help you out at all, don't be shy about hitting that like button down below, as it definitely helps this video and the channel a lot, quite a bit, and I appreciate it. So first off, there's going to be two versions of the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra. So there's going to be a GPS version as well as a GPS plus LTE version. The LTE version isn't available in the US. It's only going to be available in certain markets. So I'll be covering the GPS version for you today since I live in the States. So the new Ultra model actually looks pretty much identical to the previous generation Ticwatch Pro 3, but they now claim it's supposed to have military grade durability. And I've been using it for the last few weeks and I haven't had any issues with it, even during some rougher activities like mountain biking, and the Corning Gorilla Glass has held up just fine. I'm not exactly what you would call the most careful with these sort of devices, where I bump up into walls and stuff like that, and it's held up just fine for me, and the stainless steel bezel looks just like new. The case is right around 48 millimeters wide, and this is what it looks like on my 187 millimeter circumference wrist. Oh, and it's also IP68 water resistant, and it's rated for pool swimming. It has industry standard removable bands, and it's an okay band, but it's probably a little bit thick, and the holes to adjust the fit are a bit far apart from one another, and doesn't allow you to customize the fit as much as I would like. It has a really great looking 1.4-inch AMOLED display, and you'll interact with it using a touchscreen along with two physical buttons. And the touchscreen is responsive, it's predictable, and it's nice to use. And one of the features of this device, as well as the previous generation Ticwatch Pro 3, is that it has this dual layer display technology, which has a nice vibrant full color display, and on top of that has a secondary black and white display. So when you're not interacting with the device, the color display turns off and the black and white display turns on, which is designed to save on battery life. When the main display turns off after a few seconds of inactivity, the secondary display shows the date, time, steps for the day, as well as a battery indicator. And what's nice is that there is a backlight with the secondary display that enables when you raise your wrist. The secondary display can also be used in workout mode using the stock workout app Tic Exercise, showing the time elapsed, time of day, speed, distance, calories, heart rate, and battery. But when you're using third-party apps like Google Fit, the secondary display just shows the watch face information. And that brings up battery life, which I found to be pretty respectable for a WearOS device at least. So they advertise that you should be able to get about 3 days out of it, and I was getting like 2 to 3 days out of it depending on how many workouts I was tracking. Now, that was with the stock settings though, and I found there were some features that were turned off by default, like your new energy and fatigue level feature, and which I had to manually enable in the settings, and then enabling those features reduced the battery life down to like 1.5 to 2 days. And then for GPS battery life, that was actually pretty darn good, where it was using about 6% of the battery per hour to track an outdoor activity. And then on the smartwatch side of things, when you pair it to an Android phone, you can reply to text messages using some common predefined responses. You can use the onboard microphone to use voice dictation. You can send emojis, and you can also use the keyboard to write out a message. But just note that the reply functionality isn't available on iPhones, and it has nothing to do with MobBoy. Apple actually locks that functionality down to the Apple Watch. And then for calls, when you're paired to an Android phone, you'll be able to answer the call on the watch itself using its onboard microphone and speaker. And the microphone quality is pretty good, but the speaker quality isn't quite as good.
This is a test of the speaker on the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra. This is a test of the microphone on the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra.
So just like the previous generation Ticwatch Pro 3, the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra runs WearOS. Now, as of right now, October 2021, when this product is being launched, it's running WearOS 2. But the good news is that early next year, 2022, they'll be pushing out a firmware update, which will enable WearOS 3. So that's some really good news. And then with WearOS, of course, there's going to be quite a wide variety of apps that you can choose from to extend the functionality beyond what comes out of the box, like fitness apps and music apps. And it has 8 gigabytes of internal storage, so you'll be able to download music to the watch itself using apps like Spotify for listening to music while you're not connected to your phone. And then it also has Google Pay. And then for health and activity tracking, it tracks your active hours throughout the day that you can see in green, your steps, which is in red, and then your exercise minutes, which is in blue. And then you can click into this widget to see more detail like your calories burned, distance walked or run. And then there's this new feature here with 24-hour physical and mental status monitoring, where it shows your mental fatigue level and your energy level based on your HRV. And again, this feature wasn't enabled by default. I had to manually enable this feature. It then shows the amount of high-intensity exercise for the day and a comparison to yesterday, as well as your total for the week, your current heart rate, as well as maximum minimum for the day, a little summary chart of the week in terms of hitting goals, and then it shows a summary of your sleep, any workouts that you did for the day, your progress, and your exercise goal achieved. For the sleep tracking, it was okay in terms of tracking the time I went to bed and woke up, but the sleep stages I think were a little off, where although I did wake up in the middle of the night, it was probably only for like 10 or 15 minutes. And the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra also comes with the ability to detect irregular heartbeats as well as atrial fibrillations, but again, I had to enable this feature manually. And then in terms of what kind of sensors it has for sports and fitness, it has GPS for tracking your outdoor activities without you having to bring your phone with you. It has a heart rate sensor, it has a barometric altimeter, and this new Ultra version also has a compass. And then when it comes to the Tic Exercise app, it has over 20 different sport profiles to choose from, like running outside and inside, cycling both outside and inside. It has pool swimming, it has gym profiles like rowing and the elliptical, a few outdoor profiles like trail running, as well as football, basketball, and even badminton and table tennis. One workout profile I found to be kind of interesting though is this high intensity interval profile, where it allows you to set up a workout routine consisting of some common exercises like burpees, mountain climbers, jumping jacks, plank, and a bunch of other stuff. So you just choose the exercises that you'd like to do, and then you can see them just start to get added to a list at the top of the screen. And then you can repeat an exercise if you'd like to. And then after you're done choosing all the exercises that you'd like to do, it then allows you to customize each set, where you can choose to do a certain duration, how many reps, and rest time before the next exercise. I found this to be pretty well thought out, and then when you're done, you can even save this workout routine as a preset so you don't have to set it up again. Now, for what kind of information this watch collects for outdoor workouts, let's first check out some running. So it'll give your distance, calories burned, average heart rate, average speed, and it'll also provide your VO2 max estimate for running. And this is pretty close to my actual VO2 max value. And then in addition, it also collects your cadence as well as stride length. And then at the bottom of the page, it also displays a map. And then for how well this data compared to other test devices, on this run, it did a pretty good job at tracking the total distance. And we'll take a close look at the GPS tracks here in a bit to see the finer detail of the GPS accuracy. And then for cycling, it provides very similar information like distance, calories burned, average heart rate, and speed. And the distance and elevation figures lined up pretty good here too as well, but it did underestimate the calorie burn. And then for the actual GPS track accuracy on this run here, it was okay from a high level, but there was a bit more drift than what I would like to see on some of the straightaways. And there was also this corner right here where it cut in a bit and wasn't quite as accurate as my actual path. On this road ride, on nearly all the straight sections, it looked pretty solid, but I did notice two spots where it had these little blips, and these were on some wide open sections of the road without any overhead obstructions. And then there was also this spot right here where it had a bigger issue where it got off track quite a bit, and then after I exited this tunnel right here, it had a bit of a challenge locking back on its GPS track. And then on this mountain bike ride, again from a high level, it looked okay, but there was some drift on some sections, and then on the switchbacks, it had a bit more challenging time where it wasn't quite as accurate as I would like to see. Okay, so now on to heart rate performance, and again, let's start out with some running. And for the most part, not too shabby. It did have a couple minutes right here where it tracked about 8 beats per minute high, but then it got back on track, but it did start to track a little bit low as my heart rate increased at the end of the run. And then for indoor cycling, the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra did pretty darn good for most of the workout. There was the spot right here where it dropped out momentarily, but it did seem to get back in line for the remainder of the workout. And then for road biking outside, there's going to be more variables involved here, like vibrations and bumps in the road. And we can see that the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra was definitely more shaky here. So on these rapid increases of heart rate, it took a little bit for it to catch up. And then there was some shakiness on the main portion of the workout. There were a couple portions at the end though, where it got pretty off track, but I do have to say that it recovered at least from some of those inaccuracies. And then with mountain biking, this is definitely a hard activity for a wrist-based optical heart rate sensor to track accurately because of the gripping motion as well as the rough terrain, but this is actually not a bad result for mountain biking. So at the beginning, it had some issues for sure with some spikes, but then for the rest of the ride, that's actually quite respectable other than a few blips here and here. And then another activity that's challenging for these types of wrist-based optical heart rate sensors is weight training due to a lot of the varying arm movement as well as the wrist flexion. But again, the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra did pretty well here for this type of activity. It never had any huge spikes, which was nice to see, but you can see on a few sets where it had a challenge tracking those. And then there was a dip here and here, but still, this isn't bad for weight training at all. Overall though, for a company that's not necessarily known for fitness devices, I have to say that the heart rate performance was pretty respectable. GPS on the other hand, there's definitely some room for improvement there, and I hope they can do some optimizations to the GPS accuracy with some firmware updates. Battery life is also pretty respectable for a WearOS device, and a lot of that has to do with that dual layer display technology, and I really do like how they implemented that. And then when comparing the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra with, let's say, the Galaxy Watch 4, if you're looking for a fitness device, I'd probably lean more the direction of the Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra, mainly due to heart rate accuracy as well as battery life. And what is also nice is that I'm glad that Modboy does have a planned firmware update to update this watch to WearOS 3 next year. Anyhow, that's the new Ticwatch Pro 3 Ultra, and if you have any questions about anything I didn't cover in this video, make sure to leave those down in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, do me a favor and hit that like button if the information in this video did help you out at all. And also make sure to subscribe for lots more really in-depth reviews of devices just like this that are coming soon. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.